faith on the road to Emmaus, they were without hope. The road to Emmaus is about God's love for us. Through the gifts of faith, although they don't recognize them, Jesus opens the scriptures to them. And look at the gospel says how attracted they are to him. It says that this man, who a few moments ago when they were walking with him, was a total stranger. And now they're trying to constrain him. Looks like he's going no farther. Please, sir, stay with us this evening. I mean, how attractive. They just want to be in his presence a little bit longer because of the way this man speaks. And of course, Jesus is made known to them in the breaking of the bread. And they say to each other after he's gone, were our hearts not burning when he opened the scriptures for us? Brothers and sisters, there is nothing that makes us more alive than the gospel. And I wonder sometimes if we really believe that. Let me ask you, the last time you felt bored in life, the last time you felt like life was monotonous, that you just watched another TBS marathon, and you felt like, oh, life is so boring sometimes. Did you think to yourself, when's the last time I evangelized? When's the last time I was evangelized too? Because the scriptures say that's what makes people feel alive. C.S. Lewis said that how monotonously boring and similar have all the dictators of the world been, and how gloriously unique have all the saints of God been. The gospel is what makes us alive. And why didn't Jesus just say, here I am? Why does he take the trouble of going through the prophets and showing them how they point to himself? Well, in Luke's gospel, in a few verses later, he ascends into heaven. His physical bodily form will be gone. So I think he wanted to show them particularly how he would be now present to them through the scriptures. And in a special way, God is present to us in the scriptures and in bread and wine through the Eucharist. And this act that Jesus does is a profound act of love, because there's nothing more charitable than to preach Jesus Christ to another person. You know, it's been said that if God gave you everything you ever wanted, but he didn't give you himself, he would be a cruel God. Because he'd be withholding from you the one thing that could truly satisfy you, which is himself. But God doesn't withhold himself from the man on the road to Emmaus, and he does not withhold himself from us now, today. The road to Emmaus is about God's love for us. You know, through faith we're able to see God. And St. John of the Cross once remarked that the language of God is the experience that God writes into our lives. And you know, here we are today gathered at the Festival of Preachers. And we didn't gather here just for ourselves. What good would that be? And as Christians, we never do things for me. We're always doing things for we. It's for us. It's for all Christians. It's for the whole world. And so we come to this place so that we can be strengthened in faith, so that we can go back to our Jerusalems. And the scripture says that very hour they return to Jerusalem. And for Jerusalem, that's where we come from. We go back to that place. And with greater faith, hopefully, like that man looking at that poem, as St. John of the Cross says, we can see God written into our lives, revealing himself particularly through the scriptures and through the Eucharist, but through all the experiences of our life, telling us that he loves us and he calls us to love him back. And when we go back and we proclaim the gospel, we do the most charitable thing, to proclaim Jesus Christ crucified and risen. May it please God that they may say about you and I, were our hearts not burning when he or she opened the scriptures to